Okay. So next, already we completed cash book, right? So then coming to the okay. So coming to the so first cash book. So in case of cash book, we may prepare cash book for receipts separately, cash book for payment separately. So both can be prepared in single book or both can be prepared in single statement or those can be prepared separately. Generally, we have date. So particulars, LF number, amount dollar. Next, date, particulars, LF number, amount dollar. So on the debit, this is the format of the what cash book. On the debit side, we record what receipts, and on the credit side, we record what payments, and the closing balance indicator. So buy balance carry forward indicate what cash at bank. This amount is directly transferred to what trial balance. This amount directly transferred to what trial balance. So in this way, we prepare receipts and payments combinedly in one book, or if you want to prepare, those can be prepared separately. We prepare separately for receipts and separately for payment. So cash book for receipts and cash book for payments is also can be prepared. Also can be prepared. Then coming to the next one. So coming to the next one, petty cash book. Petty cash book. So generally, so generally petty stands for what? Petty stands for what? Small. So for having the control over small or petty expenditure, so main cashier appoints one person called as petty cashier. Main cashier appoints one person called as petty cashier, and the statement maintained by the petty cashier is called as petty cash book. That is called as what? Petty cash book. So generally, for example, coming to the organization, one cashier is there. So he must have the control over the large amounts and that those transactions which involve huge amount. So while organizing those payments and while organizing those receipts, there may be a chance of leakage of the small payments like wages paid and tea and snack expenditure and Xerox expenditure and cottage freight. So miscellaneous expenditure for office maintenance. These there may be a chance of leakage of these all payments. We don't have control over the respected element. For having the control over those expenditure, main cashier. So main cashier appoint one person called as petty cashier. He is called as what? petty cashier. Main cashier appoint one person called as petty cashier to have the control over small expenditure. To have the control over small expenditure. So first of all, before going to the petty cash book, so what happened? What happened relating to the business? So what happened relating to the business? So in this case, main cashier fixed one amount. Main cashier fixed one amount, say $15,000 for $15,000 for 10 days. In that case, so petty cashier spent these amount after receipt of the amount. He received $15,000 and during the 10 days he spent the amount. So on amount spent by the party. For example, 13,500 spent and the remaining 1,500 as in hand. The total amount of cash in hand with the petty cashier at the end of the 10th day is 1500. Then that statement prepared by the petty cashier, give it to the main cashier. Then main cashier verified and the amount spent by the petty cashier. How much amount spent here during that 10 days? 13,500. That amount spent by the petty cashier is reimbursed by main cashier to the petty cashier. That is reimbursed. So here at the end of the 10th day he has 1500 and the amount reimbursed by the main cashier is amount spent during the last 10 days, nothing but 13,500. Again the next 10 day cycle again restarted with 15,000. Clear? Well, again in the second 10 days petty cashier spent the amount and whatever the amount spent by the petty cashier again reimbursed at the end of the second 10 days. So again third 10th day cycle starts with how much amount? 15,000. Here the amount fixed by the party is called as what? Impressed. Amount fixed by the party is called as what? Impressed, and this method is called as impressed system. And this method is called as what? Impressed system. In case of impressed system, petty cash book prepared by the petty cashier is called as analytical. That is called as what? Analytical petty cash book. That is called as what? Analytical petty cash book. So listen carefully. In case of impress system, what happened? Main cashier appoint one person for having the control over the small expenditure, and he is called as petty cashier. And main cashier fixed, second point, main cashier fixed particular amount for a particular period, and the cycle is also fixed by the main cashier, and the cycle may be weekly once or 10 days once or 15 days once or monthly once, whatever may be. One amount fixed for particular period and that amount given by the main cashier to the petty cashier, and that amount fixed by the main cashier is called as what? Impressed. That is technically called as what? Impressed. And third one, the amount received by the petty cashier spent during that period for the respected expenditure. And fourth one, at the end of the cycle, say weekly once or 10 days once. So for example, cycle is a 10 days. At the end of the 10th day, petty cashier prepare one statement by way of amount received from main cashier, and out of that amount spent during the respected 10 days, what is the cash in hand at the end of the 10th day, and he prepared that statement and given to the main cashier. Then fourth one, main cashier verify the respected statement and how much amount spent by the petty cashier is reimbursed by the main cashier to the petty cashier. Means the second cycle also starts with how much amount? That fixed amount. That fixed amount nothing but called as imprest. Nothing but called as imprest. And remember, in case of petty cashier, only the receipt to the petty cashier is nothing but amount received from the main cashier. Only the amount is nothing but amount, only the receipt is nothing but amount received from the main cashier. Amount received from the main cashier. Clear? And then coming to, we need to think about analytical petty cash flow. Analytical petty cash flow. So we have to think about what? Analytical petty cash flow. Then coming to the analytical petty cash flow. So in case of analytical petty cash flow, separate column is maintained for each and every expense. Separate column is maintained for each and every expense. So how to prepare? Just first see the format: amount, date, particulars, amount, wages, traveling, so freight, tea and snacks, and cottage expenditure if any, and other miscellaneous expenditure. Other miscellaneous expenditure. So in that way, separate columns are maintained for each and every expenditure. Separate column is maintained for each and every expenditure. Each and every expenditure. So here first the amount received from the main cashier. How much amount fixed by the main cashier? $15,000, for example, and 1/1/2021. So that is nothing but we received from the main cashier. We received from the main cashier. And when the amount received, we write the entry. What is the entry we recorded? So debit petty cash, credit main cash. Debit petty cash, credit main cash. Sorry, credit main cash. So we have to write to main cash, and no receipt is recorded. So the first amount column indicate what? The first amount column indicate receipts, and the remaining all are indicate what? Payments. Remaining all are indicate what? Payments. So for example, amount paid during the year. So for example, on 5/1/2021, so by wages. So for example, $500 paid. Then we need to mention in the wages column also. And for example, 6/1/2021 by tea and snacks. So for example, $100, and we need to mention in tea and snacks $100. And for example, 7/1/2021 by freight. So for example, $2,000, then we need to mention in the freight 2,000. And 8/1/2021, again we pay the wages to these people. So for example, 3,000 paid, then in the wages 3,000. In the wages 3,000. Okay. In this way we need to mention. In this way we need to mention. Then so we need to calculate what is the total. What is the total? So what is how much amount spent? So 5,600. So 3,500, 2,000 and 100 is there, and this total is 15,000. And out of the 15,000, how much amount is spent? 5,600. So on 10/1/21, buy balance carry forward. So out of the 15 is spent 5,600, nothing but 9,400 is the balancing figure. 9,400 is the balancing figure. This is called as petty cash book. So in this case, the total amount spent by the party during the period so is nothing but how much? 55,600, that is reimbursed by the main cashier on the 11th. On 11th. So again, so on 11/1/2021, so on 11/1/2021, we have to write two balance brought forward. How much amount is there? 9,400. 9,400. And on that day, he received amount from the main cash. So main cash how much? Sorry. What is the opening balance? So 5,600 he received from the main cash 9,400. So here again the next 10 days starts with how much amount? 15,000. Next 10 days it starts with how much amount? 15,000. So in this way we prepared separate column for each and every expense. So we can analyze at the end of the day if the main cashier asked anything relating to the expenditure, how much amount you spent for wages during this 10 days, we can say 3,500. How much amount we spent for traveling? No amount spent during this 10 days. And how much amount we spent for freight? 2,000. We can say it easily. So that's why analysis is possible in this petty cash book. That's why we call it as analytical petty cash book. We call it as what? Analytical petty cash book. And this system is technically called as what? Impressed system. This is technically called as what? Impressed system. Impressed system. And non-analytical petty cash book is there. Coming to the non-analytical petty cash book, so here just we prepared in this format of cash book. So on the debit side, we record receipts. On the credit side, we record payment, and the closing balance is there. Buy balance carry forward. So in that way, we can prepare. But in case of non-analytical petty cash flow, we cannot analyze the amount spent during that cycle. We cannot analyze the amount spent during that cycle. That is one of the drawback in case of non-analytical petty cash book. But coming to the analytical petty cash book, the major advantage is analysis of each and every expenditure. Analysis of each and every expenditure. Clear? So this is about the petty cash flow. Okay. So coming to the book of primary entry. So nothing but journal. In this case, we completed purchase day book, and sales day book, purchase returns day book, sales returns day book, cash book, and petty cash book and petty cash book. So those elements which are not recorded in these 6 books, those are recorded in what? Journal proper, and we may call it as what? General journal. General journal. So we go for next what? Journal proper. So journal proper. So in case of journal proper, those transactions which are not recorded in above 6 books or recorded in Journal proper. And remember, so during the last 6 books, nowhere we record the transaction in the form of the entry. So we record the transaction in the form of the entry only in one book. That is nothing but journal proper. That is nothing but what? Journal proper. And already we discussed the format of the journal. So first we record the name of the entity. We consider what? Name of the entity. So journal entries of so and so entity. So we date, particulars, debit, dollar, credit dollar, and you may record the LF number also. You may record what? LF number. So this is the format of the journal. So in the date column, we record date of the transaction. In the date column, we record what? Date of the transaction. In the particular column, we record the transaction in the form of entry. Transaction in the form of entry. So already we discussed what is meant by entry. It is nothing but the combination of debit and credit aspects. It is nothing but the combination of debit and credit aspect. How to identify the debit and credit aspect of a particular transaction? Already we discussed. So by using the two approaches are there. One is a traditional approach and another one is what? Modern approach or accounting equation approach. And based on any one of the approach, we can identify the transaction. And first we record the debit aspect starting with the word DR, and next we record the credit aspect starting with the word CR. Starting with the word CR, and the amount columns are mentioned in the debit column and credit column. So debit amount is recorded opposite to the debit aspect in the debit column, and credit amount is recorded opposite to the credit aspect in the credit column. So for example, on 1/1/2021, on 1/1/2021, amount introduced by the owner into the business. Amount introduced by the owner into the business. Already we discussed how to write the journal entries. So remember, here I am discussing the journal entry, not those transactions recorded in journal proper. Okay, just I am discussing the journal format. So already we discussed. In this format, we prepare the journal proper also. Okay, so just here we discussing the journal format, and just I revise the how to write the entry. Okay, first, so amount brought by the owner into the business. Then we write the entry debit bank account 10,000, credit capital account 10,000. So this combination of debit and credit aspect is called as journal. Is called as entry. Is called as what? Entry. And at the end of the entry, we need to write what? Narration. So being amount introduced by the owner, and we have to write the narration in the particular column only, in the particular column only. And remember, don't write the amounts in the same column. Okay, so here we write the debit amount opposite to the debit column, credit amount opposite to the credit column. Don't write these amount in the single column. Don't write these amount in the single column. So this is format of the entry, and this is the format of the journal. This is the format of the journal. Next, coming to transactions recorded in journal proper. The transactions recorded in journal proper. Which transactions we are going to record? The first one is called as opening entry. First one is called as opening entry. So first remember opening entry. What is meant by opening entry? Opening entry is nothing but that entry recorded for transferring balances from previous period to the current period. So from the previous period to the current period. So in the last year, in the last accounting period, we record the transactions and we post the transactions to the ledger, and we prepare the trial balance, and we prepare the financial statements, and we close that period, and freshly we started the new period. And while starting the period, we need to transfer the balances from the previous period to the current period, those accounts which are not closed in previous year. Best example is personal accounts, and real accounts are not closed. Only nominal accounts are closed by transferring to profit and loss statement at the end of the year. Okay, so then how to transfer? Those are transferred by writing one journal entry called as what? Opening entry. That is called as what? Opening entry. Then what is the opening entry? You have to write in this way. So debit assets account, credit liability account, and credit capital account. So assets account are debited, liability account is credited, capital account is credited. If you see this one, so then you can identify one thing like, so accounting equation. So capital plus liability is equal to what? Assets. This is the accounting equation what we discussed. So by using that accounting equation of the previous period, we record the entry in the current year in the form of what? Opening entry. In the form of what? Opening entry. But coming to assets and liabilities, number of elements are there. So for example, we have fixed asset like plant and machinery is there, furniture is there, trade receivables are there, inventory is there, cash account is there. Then don't write in group. We have to write in this way: debit plant and machinery account, debit furniture account, debit trade receivable account, debit cash account, debit so inventory account, credit trade payables account, credit bank loan account, credit capital account. We have to write the transaction individually. We have to write the transaction individually. For example for example, coming to the statement of financial position as it 31st December 2020. So coming to the assets, so in non-current assets we have property, plant and equipment is there 20,000. In current assets, so we have inventory 10,000, trade receivables 15,000, cash and bank 35,000 is there. Nothing but assets is how much? So 30, 40, 70,000 is there. Sorry, 80. 80,000 is there. Then coming to the equity and liabilities. Then coming to the equity, so like equity is nothing but what? Capital, share capital. So around 50,000 is there, and non-current liability 0, and coming to current liabilities, we have trade payables 30,000. This is the balance sheet. So this is what statement of financial position. Statement of financial position of the entity as at what date? 31st December 2020. So here we start the new accounting year on 1/1/2021. So while starting that, we need to transfer these all balances to the current year 2021. We need to transfer these balances to the current year 2021. In that case, for transferring these all balances, we need to record one entry called as what? Opening entry. Opening entry. Then how to record? So we have to consider debit assets account, credit liabilities account, credit capital account, right? So here assets are nothing but what? Debit property, plant and equipment account, debit inventory account, debit trade receivables account, debit cash and bank account, debit cash and bank account. Then credit liabilities, only one liability is there, nothing but what? Trade payables account, nothing but creditor. So credit capital account. So we have to mention the amounts. So property, plant and equipment is 20,000, 10,000, 15,000 and 35,000 is there. And the trade payables are how much? 30,000 and 15,000. So this entry recorded by way of transferring the balances from the previous year 2021, 2022, 2021. So the entry recorded by way of transferring the balances from the previous period to the current period is called as what? Opening entry. That entry is called as what? Opening entry. What is the journal entry for opening entry? So we need to write, so debit assets account, credit liabilities account, credit capitals account, credit capital account. This is the first entry we need to record. Then coming to the second one, closing entries. Closing entries. So closing entries are nothing but already we discussed. So there are three types of the accounts are there. So that is nothing but personal account, real account and nominal account. Personal account, real account and nominal account. So remember, personal account and the real account are only balanced. Balanced means those are transferred to the next year. Those are transferred to the next year. So but nominal accounts are never balanced and those are closed by transferring to profit and loss statement, and those are closed by transferring to profit and loss statement. Because what is the reason? Reason is nothing but, so these nominal accounts are nothing but temporary accounts. So because for those accounts we already receive the services and we already provide the services, and no need to maintain the corresponding person account in the books of account. That's why in case of the nominal account, so we didn't open the person account, we opened the service. Nothing but, for example, rent paid to the landlord, so we didn't open landlord account. Instead of that, we open rent account debited, cash account credited. So salary is paid to the employees. We didn't open employees account. We opened salaries account debited, cash account credited. Because why those person accounts are not opened in the books of accounts? Because those are temporary accounts. Those are temporary accounts. We need to close those all accounts at the end of the year by transferring to what? Profit and loss account. But coming to the personal account and the real account, no need to close. Those will carry forward to the subsequent period. For carry forwarding those balances of personal account and real account, we write one entry called as what? Opening entry. Called as what? Opening entry. For closing the nominal account, at the end of the year, we write one entry called as what? Closing entries. Called as what? Closing entries. Here, so closing entry is a nothing but, so entries recorded at the end of the year to close the nominal accounts by transferring to profit and loss statement. To close the nominal accounts by transferring to profit and loss statement. Then what are those entries? Then for closing the expenses. So generally, what is the journal entry we record for expense? Expense, we write the entry debit expense account, credit cash account. Debit what? Expense account, credit cash account. And present, you want to close the expense. You want to close the expense by transferring to profit and loss statement. So already expense is a debited because it is a debit balance item. So if you want to close the expense, you need to credit the expense and the corresponding debit is given to profit and loss statement. Then we write the entry debit profit and loss account, credit expense account. Debit profit and loss account, credit expense account. Then like salaries account is there. While paying the salary, we write the entry debit salaries account, credit cash account. Then that salary account is closed by transfer to profit and loss account at the end of the year. Then we write the entry debit profit and loss account, credit salaries account. So then for closing the incomes or gains. Then what is the journal entry we recorded for income? When the income received, we write debit cash account, credit income account. When the rent received, we write debit cash account, credit rent account. When the dividend interest received, we write debit cash account, credit interest account. And here, when the income received, that income is debited. That income is credited. While closing that income should be debited, and the corresponding credit is given to profit and loss account. Then, what is the journal entry we need to record? Debit income account, credit profit and loss account, credit profit and loss account. So these entries, which are recorded at the end of the year to close all nominal accounts, by transferring to profit and loss statement. Are called as closing entries. So for closing the expenses, what is the entry to be recorded? Debit profit and loss account, credit expense, and debit income account, credit profit and loss account. Okay, so that is nothing but what? Closing entries. Next, coming to the third one, adjusting entries. So remember this one, and this one is very important while preparing the financial statements. So we will discuss again at the time of published accounts. So how to prepare the financial statement? In that case, we need to do the adjustment to the corresponding expenses and incomes. Okay. So before that, we need to know the one concept. We need to know the one concept called as what? Accrual concept. Accrual concept already we discussed. As per accrual concept, the transactions are recorded immediately as and when they are incurred. The transactions should be recorded immediately as and when they are incurred. As and when they are incurred. So nothing but, for example, salaries per annum is equal to, for example, $1 lakh. $1 lakh. So during the year, employees provide the total services per year, and out of that we pay the salaries. Salaries paid $85,000 only. Salaries paid 85,000. Still, we are liable to pay 15,000 at the end of the year. 15,000 at the end of the year. But remember, as per the cash basis of an accounting, only amount of transaction recorded only when the amount paid. A transaction recorded only when the amount received. Means the transactions recorded based on whether you receive the cash or paid cash. Whether you receive the cash or pay the cash. Based on that receipt or payment of the cash only, the transactions are recorded. But coming to the accrual basis of an accounting, we have to record the transaction immediately based on its incurrence, not based on payment or receipt of the cash. So here during the year, employees provide the services to us for the whole year, for the whole year. But we pay the salary only for 84,000 instead of 1 lakh. So we need to pay 15,000 more, and that will pay in the next year. That will pay in the next year. Then how much amount required to record in the current year? As per approval concept, we need to record total salary equal to amount paid plus payable. Both are required to record. Amount paid plus payable, both are required to record. Then while paying the salary, we write the entry debit salaries account, credit cash account. So how much amount we paid? 85,000. So we record the entry for 85,000. So coming to the profit and loss statement, so salaries account, how much we represented? 85,000 only. But coming to the current year, how much amount of services employees provided to you? 1 lakh, not 85,000. We need to give the adjustment of 15,000 to the salary, which is liable to pay in the next year, so means we need to record this 15,000, and that adjustment made at the end of the year to those expenses and incomes are treated as adjusting entries. Okay, so adjusting entries are nothing but entries recorded at the end of the year by giving the adjustments to the expenses and incomes based on which concept? Accrual concept. Based on which concept? Accrual concept. So as per accrual concept, so here we need to give the adjustment for 4 items. That is nothing but outstanding expenses, prepaid expenses, income receivable, income received in advance. So we need to write the adjusting entries for these four items, and some more transactions are there like adjusting entry for closing stock, depreciation, etc. We will discuss those transactions in the later topics, in the later classes. So we need to give the adjustments for these four items. Outstanding expenses are there, prepaid expenses are there, income receivable and income received in advance. Income received in advance. So I will explain one by one. Outstanding expense, and we also call it as expense payable. Expense payable. What is that meaning? So amount accrued during the period but not paid. But not paid. Here the total services received during the year 1 lakh. The total services received during the year 1 lakh. But how much amount we paid? 85,000. Means for this 15,000, for this 15,000 amount of salary accrued. Accrued means belongs to current year. It is created in the current year. We need to pay but not pay. We need to pay but not pay. So those elements are called as accrued but not paid and is technically called as outstanding. And remember, the word outstanding may be used in case of receipts also or in case of payments also. So, and coming to the payments, we technically call it as what? Payable. Payable is nothing but what? Amount accrued, expense accrued but not paid. Expense accrued but not paid. So here, what is the journal entry to be recorded? We need to create the expense in the current year for that amount, right? So we need to record that 15,000, and as per rules, expense is a debit item. Expense is a debit item. So we have to debit the expense. Corresponding credit is given to payable. So why the credit is given to payable? Payable is nothing but so liable to pay. That is a liability. So as per rule, liability should be credited. Then we write the entry debit expense account credit so debit expense account, credit expense payable account. So for this purpose, we have to write the entry debit salary account, credit salary payable account. How much amount we recorded? 15,000. Okay, so this is the first one. Outstanding expense. Outstanding expense. Outstanding expense or expense payable. So what is the journal expense? Expense payable or outstanding expense means amount accrued but not paid. So what is the journal entry to be recorded? Debit expense account, debit expense account and credit expense payable. Debit expense account and credit expense payable. Credit expense payable. Okay, and remember, and I will explain it again in the chapter of financial statements or published accounts. Okay, then coming to the prepaid expenses. Prepaid expenses means, for example, current year salary per month is around 10,000. Salary per month is around 10,000. So total salary per year is equal to 10,000 into 12. So how much amount? 1,20,000 is there. 1,20,000. But we pay the salary around 1,50,000. We pay the salary around 1,50,000. Means we write the journal entry debit salaries account, credit cash account. How much amount is there? 1,50,000 paid. But out of that, how much amount belongs to the current year? 1,20,000. The 30,000 excess we paid is not belongs to the current year. That is belongs to the next year. That is belongs to the next year. Means that amount paid in advance. That amount paid in advance. Those amounts are called as prepaid expenses. Means those expenses which are paid in advance for which services to be received in future. That services are not provided by the employee in the current year. That services are required to be provided by the employee in the next year. Those are called as prepaid. So means, so salary account is debited with 1,50,000, but actually that account debited with 1,20,000 only. How much excess amount is debited to salary? 30,000. So that excess amount is cancelled by way of crediting the corresponding expense. The debit is given to prepaid. So entry is debit prepaid expense account, credit expense account. Means here we need to write what? Debit prepaid salary, credit salary account, credit salary account. Clear? So this is about the expenses, outstanding expenses and prepaid expenses. Outstanding expenses and prepaid expenses. Outstanding expense, what is the journal entry? Debit expense account, credit expense payable. And remember, so accrued is also covered under outstanding. So in some cases they provided an accrued expense. Accrued expense or outstanding expense or payable expense payable, both are all are same. Prepaid expense, what is the journal entry? Sorry, debit prepaid expense account, credit expense account, debit prepaid expense account, credit expense account. That is the journal entry for prepaid expense. Next term. Income receivable. Income receivable. So this two, already we discussed two entries relating to the adjustments at the end of the year. The two belongs to the expenses. Then coming two belongs to the incomes. So for example, so business provide these services to this party worth 1 lakh and he paid 80,000 rupees. The party paid 80,000 rupees. So as per the accrual concept, total income during the year per annum is equal to how much amount? $1 lakh is there. Out of that, income received in cash during the year 80,000 and the remaining amount is called as income receivable. The remaining amount is called as income receivable. Nothing but that amount required to receive in the current year but not received. But not received means accrued income but not received during the year. So that is belongs to current year but not received during the year. So when the amount received, we write the entry. When the amount received, we write the entry debit bank account, credit income account. We write the entry for how much amount? 80,000 only, 80,000. But as per accrual concept, we need to record the entry for income. How much amount? 1 lakh. 1 lakh. So how much amount required to record? 20,000 more. So income is a credit item. We have to give the credit to that income, and the corresponding debit is given to what? Income receivable. Because we required to receive, but we didn't receive. So in future, we are going to receive that amount. So receivable is nothing but what? Asset. So asset should be debited. Asset should be debited. So we write the entry debit income receivable account, credit income account, debit income receivable account, credit income account. This is the entry to be recorded, and remember this entry is recorded only to the extent of amount required to receive. Amount required to receive in the current year, but not received in current year. Okay, so income receivable is an asset. Income receivable is an asset and is shown on asset side of the balance sheet, means financial statement position, statement of financial position. Okay, so for this we write the entry. So debit income receivable account, credit income account, how much amount? 20,000. How much amount? 20,000. Next. Income received in advance. Income received in advance. Nothing but actually total income per current year is equal to 1 lakh. But we received for 1,20,000. We received for 1,20,000. When the income received, we write the entry debit bank account, credit income account. How much amount is that? 1,20,000. Debit bank account, credit income account. How much amount is that? 1,20,000. But out of that, how much amount belongs to the current year? 1 lakh. The 20,000 we received in advance, which is belongs to previous year, which is belongs to next year. So next year income received in the current year means we are going to provide the services in the future. So we are going to provide these services in future means that is a liability to us. That is a liability to us. That's why income received in advance is credited because it is a liability, and the corresponding debit is given to what? Income account. So we write the entry debit income account, credit income received in advance account. Debit income account, credit income received in advance account. Okay, so these are the 4 adjusting entries to be recorded relating to the expenses and incomes. So what are they? Outstanding expense or expense payable is there, and prepaid expense, income receivable and income received in advance. Okay, for outstanding expense we need to write the entry. So expense account debited, expense payable account credited. For prepaid expense account debited, expense account credited. For income receivable account is debited, income account is credited. Income received in advance, income account debited, income received in advance account is credited. Income received in advance account is credited. So these are the 3 entries required to record in the journal proper. First one is opening entry, and the second one is what? Closing entries, and the third one is what? Adjusting entries. Third one is what? Adjusting entries. Then some more entries are there, so that is nothing but what? So rectification entries, transfer entries, and others like bad debts, discounts, etc. So we are going to discuss those entries, and we will conclude that session. We will conclude the journal proper in the next session. Okay, so this is the one of the element so relating to what? Journal proper. Thank you.